Hey, welcome to Moss Models and Mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, speaking of mistakes, I'm Tom. That's not what I meant to say. um, and mistakes, I'm Tom. But speaking of mistakes, I've been working on this for like 3 days. This is the rear end. And I could not figure out what was wrong. The shocks wouldn't line up. And I put the holes in for the shocks. I know right where they go, and they were correct. Anyway, the whole thing wasn't making sense once those shocks didn't fit. And I guess I took my time figuring it out. But all it was is I had that one, those two arms that come out from the center, and they have the mounting pins for the shock absorbers. It was backwards. And I don't know why I couldn't see past. Anyway, why does it was weird because usually I try to look past the problem, the solution to say, why did that happen? And this one comes out and says, well, Tom, it's because you apparently needed to think about it some more before you did it. That's my conclusion from the federal model put her together agency. So there you go. Anyway, I've got it on right now. We'll still got to see how things fit and work, but there's 100% better chance of it working. Definitely when I'd throw some money in there. But I don't like gambling. Well, not that I don't like it. I mean, it's fun. Gambling, it is fun. And it's fun if you're playing for pennies or something like that. But man, sometimes, like when I was in the Marines and I was in Iwakuni, Japan, they could have slot machines there. On base, there's some slot machines, and there's like three as you walked into the club, and we didn't have any money to go out to the club or anything like that because it was the day after payday, not payday. It's ridiculous, but anyway, so we had my friend. I can see his face. I want to say his name is Tim. Anyway, he said, "I got 1 quarter. Let's try it." And he put the quarter in the quarter slots and got $75, and we walked into the club. It's weird. Stuff happens like that, though. Now, it didn't say $250,000, and we walked into the club saying, "Give us our money. We're out of here." But regardless, it was fine. It was fine. Oh, that was a weird. I fell asleep on the flight over to Japan, and you fly through the night, and it was early in the morning, and you're flying backwards in time, sort of. But anyway, and I woke up, and my head was against the window and everything. I was looking out, and there was Mount Fuji, and I was right out there. It was in the distance, but it was like Mount Fuji and some clouds and stuff. I was like, holy cow. And I grabbed my camera, a little Instamatic. Yes, that big. Anyway, Instamatic. And I still got the picture. And it's Mount Fuji from looking down on it, really. from afar. It's a little bit, it's lower than us, but anyway, that was really cool. Don't know how I got there. I don't care. That was a okay little story. Yeah, Japan was a place, all kinds of weird things happened. I walked around out in the village of Iwakuni, and they had a lot of bars and stuff there. But and I was walking down the back street in Iwakuni, Japan. I saw this bar that said Pons, Pons. And I just walked in. It was a dive. It was a dive. There was maybe a couple Marines in there, but it was really small. My model room is about the size of the bar, the whole place. It was in this little skinky thing, and he had a bar, and he had a parachute on the ceiling, and a big red apple, and that was the Big Apple. Anyway, Pon was really cool. He was really weird. Obviously he was Japanese, but he had this fro that stuck out like this, and I can see his face now, his half closed eyes. He was something, but he would I would, well, I don't know how we became friends. I went in there, and I guess he kind of liked me or something. So we became friends. So I would go there just to see what was going on, because I had nothing better to do, and Pon would always, if I didn't have any money, he would always treat me to a beer or something, and the better stuff. He didn't let people know he had Heineken, and it was like underneath this thing. He used to be able to stay open until 4 a.m. and it was because if you're going to be open, a club could stay open until 4 a.m. A bar had to close at 2, and what they said, what defined a pub or a club was you served food. So he had a hot plate and soup. He would make soup for you if you wanted some. I've never seen it used, but imagine. But yes, he was really, really weird. Yeah, but just such a nice guy. I remember getting caught. Well, it was stupid, but Pon didn't have a bathroom in there anyway. I never saw anything. So you went outside and you peed up against the wall. That's what you did. And I was doing that and going back in. And yeah, this is in the middle. It's not like it's kind of sort of like junky inner city area. But I don't know about anybody getting in any trouble or anything. I mean, or getting in fights or anything like that. I don't know anything about that stuff, but I was peeing. And this MP came up to me, military police there, and like, hey, and I was like, what? He said, peeing up against the wall is okay. Actually, I wasn't up against the wall. I was peeing into a benjo, which is an open, it's their sewer, that everything dumps into there and it goes to wherever. That's where it did anyway back in 79. Anyway, because there were those big concrete you say rivers, but it was sewage with water, you know. Anyway, I was next to the building, but I was peeing in the Benjo, and that was, he said, that's indecent exposure. I said, really? Yeah. And he said, so I got to write this information down and all that. And I said, all right. And I said, you want me to hold your flashlight? Because he was struggling. He said, yeah, thanks. And then they got flashlights that'll kill a man if you hit him in the head with it. And I'm sitting there holding the flashlight for him. And he's looking down and he said, that was stupid, wasn't it? I said, what? He said, me giving you the flashlight to hold. I said, yeah, I guess if I wasn't a nice guy, I guess so, yeah. Anyway, so he let me go. But anyway, that was about as stupid as I got outside, off base, as far as being out and alone and meeting up and seeing Pawn and stuff. But like I said, he was a nice guy. He's just a little misguided. I guess he was gay because he had they had bar hooks there, like 2 or 3 in that little place. And he had bar hooks, and they would hook you into buying them drinks. That's what they meant, not hookers. These would, women just, if you get them to buy them drinks, and they drink it, and they get drinks, then the house gets the money, and they get their share. And they all stayed over Pawn's house because Pawn was gay, and he was so weird. I stopped as soon as I saw him. I went back to his place at closing because I didn't have to do anything on Saturday, and I'd never been there, and he invited me back after he closed at 4. And it was just too weird for me. I could see how he got his eyes half closed and all that stuff, but it was like, no, dude, I gotta go home. It was, he did glue, sniffing glue in big plastic bags or something. I don't know. I was, I'm gone. See you, dude. And he just would go do his crazy thing, I guess. I don't know, but I didn't go out to the bar anymore because that was just, no, he's a nice guy and everything, but I just couldn't take that kind of a chance being in Japan, in the Marines, and dealing with that kind of stuff. Whew. I could have been in jail forever, especially being caught out in the Ville doing shit like that. Dude. Sorry, excuse my language. Anyway, that was a great story. Sorry. But I guess I'll let it go. I'll have to listen back, see if I broke any laws or something. I guess I don't have anything else to report on. This is coming along now that I'm so glad. I've made like 6 or 7 attempts at a film, a video, on this piece. And I knew it would finally come to me and I would figure out what was wrong. And I did. And this was the video I figured out what was wrong on, or the video before that. I can't remember which. But anyway, yeah, the video before. But anyway, I got it figured out because of making videos. Going through it over and over and over and over and over and finally going, oh, wait. Anyway, I shall watch this video, and if it doesn't embarrass me totally, I'll put it out, and you're seeing it now. So thank you so much for watching and being part of this, and subscribe if you want to. If you don't, that's fine. Let's see what else. If you don't, that's fine. But if you like it, please. And if you subscribe, then you can hit notify, and I'm here for you. But I think we'll just leave it at that. I really hope you guys have a great day, because this is now 7:15 in the morning. And I've been making videos since 5. Yeah, and I just made a 16-minute video. Okay. Y'all take care, and be good. We'll see you the next time. Thanks very much for watching.